Is it just me that does every celebrity relationship suddenly collapse right after the Super Bowl? Like clockwork. Confetti falls, the cameras shut off, and then boom, somebody's unfollowed. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs suddenly not following each other. Interesting timing. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. The internet is whispering that this fairy tale might be on pause. Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton sitting very close at very public events. But sure, just friends. Tom Brady and Alix, Earle, Miami, billionaire influencer. I'm sure that's purely networking. Now listen, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying the timing is doing a lot of heavy lifting, because when the biggest weekend in sports ends and half of Hollywood's relationships suddenly look shaky, that's not coincidence. That's content. Welcome to Receipts and Rumors, where we don't assume anything, but we connect dots. Let's start where the internet started spiraling. So here's a timeline breakdown. They were linked publicly in 2025. Their appearances together sparked buzz. Then Super Bowl weekend happens. Shortly after, mutual Instagram unfollow. And reports claim that they were already broken up before the game. Now we did skip past a few things. Of course they had a baby together. She just had the baby not long ago. All his baby mamas, this is strictly about the unfollow, not all of that. But here's what makes this messy. It wasn't just the unfollow. It was the timing. The infamous interview when Cardi B was asked if there was anything, and I'm paraphrasing, that she could tell Stefon before the game. And she simply said, good luck. That was it.
Message for Stefon before the game. One inspired message for him.
Good luck.
And social media unfollows are the modern breakup announcement. And they unfollowed each other, or she blocked them, one of the two. Was this a quiet split that became loud because of the Super Bowl spotlight? Like, would people have checked right away to see if they were still following each other if it wasn't for this interview? And if you think that was chaotic, wait until we get to the couple whose fans are basically conducting FBI investigations. Okay, now we have to talk about the triangle that the internet refuses to let go of, because this just isn't a rumored cool-off period between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. This is about timeline energy and grooming choices. Let's start here. Fans have long speculated that certain lyrics from Taylor subtly reference the previous relationship era, specifically the aesthetic and dynamic Travis had when he was dating Kayla Nicole. Now, I'm not saying she named her. She didn't. But Swifties are very forensic. When certain lyrics hit about image, public perception, or transformation, fans immediately started saying, was that she? Recently, Travis shaved his mustache, the state trooper mustache that everybody's talking about. Literally, that's when I unfollowed him, because he was all of a sudden not that attractive to me as he was before when he was dating Kayla Nicole. But moving on. He also faded his hair, and suddenly he looked exactly how he looked during the Kayla era. Let that sit. And this is not me making anything up. This is purely visual. Side-by-side photos do not lie. So now the internet is asking, is he resetting? Is he rebranding? Is this who he always was and he just put on a front for Taylor? Is he distancing himself from the Taylor aesthetic? Or is this just a man who wanted a haircut? But timing, again. And also, Kayla's name is trending again. She had her own Super Bowl moment. She's visible, active, and unbothered. And when exes suddenly become visible again, while current narratives get quiet, people connect dots. Now, to be clear, there's zero confirmation of a breakup between Travis and Taylor. There's zero confirmation that his haircut means anything. And there's zero confirmation that the lyrics were shade. But culturally, the aesthetic shift is loud. Because when a man goes back to the exact haircut that he had with his ex, the internet will always ask why. And that's why this doesn't feel random. It feels like a pivot, and pivots usually happen for a reason. Now let's move on to someone who never wastes proximity, Kim Kardashian. Because of course she was at the Super Bowl, and of course she wasn't just there. She was seated very strategically next to Lewis Hamilton. And before anyone says that they're just friends, sure, maybe, but I think there was a photo of them kissing, if I'm not mistaken. They could still be just friends, but I'm just saying. But here's the thing about Kim. Nothing is ever accidental. We're talking about a global Formula One icon, 7-time world champion, fashion forward, international brand, luxury adjacency, quiet, disciplined, unproblematic. And suddenly, he's seated next to the most media calculated woman in America after they were already spotted together in Paris. Paris is not Target, and that's not random. Let's zoom out. Kim's relationships are never low stakes. Every man represents something. Athlete, rapper, comedian, billionaire adjacent, now global racing legend. Are we dating for love, or are we expanding territories? Because here's what fascinates me. Every time Kim enters enters a new relationship era, it aligns perfectly with her brand evolution. When she leaned into streetwear dominance, rapper era. When she pivoted into high fashion domination, Pete Davidson, Saturday Night Live credibility, fashion crowd adjacency. When she leaned deeper into billionaire social circles, new proximity. And now, global luxury athlete. I'm not saying she's using men. I'm just saying she understands visibility. Now, the internet loves to say Kim can't keep a man. But here's a better question. Does she even want to? Let that land. Because none of these relationships end quietly. They end when a narrative shifts. And that's different. Lewis Hamilton is not loud. He's not chaotic. He's extremely brand protected, which makes this pairing interesting. If this is real, it changes his brand dynamic. If this is strategic, it elevates both of them globally. That's efficient. So do I think Kim is in love? I don't know. But do I think she understands timing, luxury positioning, and international press cycles better than most CEOs? Absolutely. Because let's be honest, Kim doesn't just date. She aligns. And if this turns into something official, watch how it perfectly overlaps with her next business move. Nothing about her romantic history is random. It's curated. And that's not shade. It's branding. Okay, now this one made the entire internet blink twice. Tom Brady and Alix Earle. Let that sit. Because when a retired football legend with 7 rings ends up linked to a 23-year-old influencer during Super Bowl weekend, that's not subtle. Now to clarify, I have no issues with the age at all. This isn't an 18-year-old. It's not even a 19 or 20-year-old. She's 23, so she's a little older. And personally, I don't blame her. Tom Brady, he's a catch. He's a catch. I'm just saying. So they were spotted together at a Super Bowl party. Very close, very comfortable, very Miami. And suddenly the phrase hooking up starts trending. Now, we don't have confirmation of anything, but we do have proximity. So let's address what everybody's thinking. Tom is in his mid-40s. Alix Earle is Gen Z. That's not illegal. It's not scandalous. It's just generational. Like TikTok and tax audits in the same room. And Alix recently opened up about struggling emotionally in her last relationship. Let that breathe. And almost immediately after, she's rumored to be spending time with one of the most powerful single men in sports history. That is not a casual rebound. And Tom Brady is not just some guy. He's a billionaire. He's hyper-calculated. He protects his image and he understands headlines. So if he's standing that close to an influencer in public during Super Bowl weekend, that's a choice. And Tom Brady doesn't accidentally make choices. Now the internet has 2 camps. Camp 1 is just networking. They run in the same circles. Camp 2, this is the softest soft launch in history because Miami social life is very transactional. Let that sit. Influencer plus billionaire athlete in a party environment during the biggest sports weekend of the year? That's not random seating. Let's not forget something. Tom Brady just went through a very public divorce. Alix Earle is peak Gen Z attention. If you're trying to signal that you're culturally relevant, you don't go low profile, you go viral. What makes this messier is Alix's recent vulnerability posts. She was openly emotional about her last relationship, and now she's suddenly being photographed in proximity, who represents the opposite of that entire era. That's a pivot. So what is this? A fling? A flex? A networking situation? A distraction? Or is it just 2 single people in the VIP section? But here's what I know. When a billionaire stands next to a 23-year-old influencer during Super Bowl weekend, the internet is not going to call that coincidence. They're going to call that a storyline. This is about the audience and the machine. Okay, now I want to ask a different question. Why do we keep acting shocked? Every year, Super Bowl weekend, we get romance optics, power couple seating, soft launches, strategic smiles, and then 3 days later, unfollowing, haircuts. We're just focusing on ourselves. We're still friends, and we gasp. Do you know what celebrity relationships are? Marketing campaigns with chemistry. Let that sit. Now, some of them are real. I'm still kind of on the fence about Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion. I want so badly for that to be real, but there's just too many things underlying that I'm not gonna say because I lost so many followers. So many sensitive people unfollowed me when I talked about Megan Thee Stallion, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know if I hope it's not, because, you know, I get googly eyes every time I see them together in a video. I just love them together. I do. But even real relationships get packaged. And the sad part, we participate. We dissect haircuts. We analyze lyrics. We zoom in on who was seated next to who, and they trend. Cardi and Diggs unfollow. Millions of impressions. Kelce changes his haircut. Trending. Kim sits next to Lewis. Blogs light up. And Tom breathes near a 23-year-old influencer. Internet meltdown. Who wins? Because whether these relationships are real, strategic, messy, emotional, or completely organic, they create conversation. And conversation is currency. So maybe the question isn't, was it real? Maybe the question is, did it work? Because if we're all talking about it, it worked. So DJ Vlad, he posted some things on X, and he shared some interesting posts about Jay-Z, Megan Thee Stallion, and Tory Lanez. And we're going to go over those because I think it's important to share this in receipts and rumors because we got the receipts here, okay? And the rumors are in the tweets. Okay, so he made this X post, Twitter X. I still call it Twitter. I grew up with Twitter, okay? So here's what it says. I'm not paraphrasing this. So I got this from Hollywood Unlocked. You'll see it in the screenshots. I have a confession. Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's record company or something like that, his company. Rock Nation has been paying me to support Megan. They also paid off all the jury members to convict Tory, and they bribed the judge too. Jay-Z did a verse for his grandson's new album. They paid off Megan's doctor to lie about the bullet fragments. She was never shot. The LA police are all on Jay's payroll, and it doesn't stop with LA, but you're not ready to hear that part. The Mexican guy who stabbed Tory, who do you think paid him to do that? You already know the answer to that. The 3 Supreme Court judges who denied Tory's appeal, all paid off by the Rock Mafia. Jay also paid Trump not to pardon Tory. Even though it's a state case, Trump can only pardon federal cases. But knowing Trump likes to bend the rules, Jay wasn't taking any chances. I can't keep these lies secret anymore. If this is my last tweet, you know who silenced me. And then he also tweeted, I'm seeing news reports that Kelce's bodyguard came forward and saying that Kelce shot Megan, not Tory Lanez. The only problem is that Kelce's bodyguard wasn't actually bodyguarding her the night of the shooting. Of course he wasn't. Of course. His testimony is based on a conversation he claimed he heard. 98% of appeals fall through. This isn't going to overturn Tory's conviction. If this were actually true, Tory should have taken the stand and said it. Also, the story doesn't match up with the jail's call of Tory apologizing to Kelce. You're an idiot if you think that someone sitting in jail is going to apologize to the person who put them there. And why would the shooter even do a jail call with the person who is being charged with their crime? And this is also old news from last May. And then he responded to a few people that responded to him. He changed his answer and said he was shot, but Kelce had the gun. And after knocking it out of her hand, the gun hit the floor and fired twice. I've yet to see a gun fall and fire twice. So it's probably a Rock Nation self-firing gun that they planted in the car. So apparently his check bounced. His last check, where they were paying him, bounced. The money stopped coming. I never signed an NDA. He told someone that after they asked, why are you confessing now? With a company as big as Rock, I'm not calling this guy a liar or anything, okay? He might be telling the truth for all I know. I don't know. We don't know. But my thing is, a company as big as Rock Nation, a billionaire like Jay-Z, you mean to tell me they didn't make him sign an NDA? I don't believe that part. Like, they couldn't have let that slip through the cracks if there's any truth to any of this. I'm just saying. So they were paying him $10,000 a month. It went up to $50,000 a month, apparently, according to him. All the payments were in Bitcoin, so they couldn't be traced. And they say they all got paid with Bitcoin. The prices dropped, so they're all turning on him. I don't know. Reportedly, apparently, allegedly, he's also in the Epstein files. We don't know. I don't put nothing past these people anymore. But I just wanted to include this in the video. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. Do you think there's any truth? I know a lot of people love Megan Thee Stallion. I like her too. I mean, I'm not gonna say I love her. Like, there are certain artists that I love, like Don Toliver, Britney Spears. Well, the Britney Spears that we knew years ago. I don't know who they got out there now performing, but I don't think that's Britney. I might just leave that there. Don Toliver, Britney Spears, 21 Savage. I love him too. Drake, The Weeknd. I love them. Megan Thee Stallion, I like her music a lot. I love her relationship with Klay Thompson too. I hope that's not a performance. But so I'm saying that to say I'm not riding for Megan Thee Stallion. Like, oh no, she's not lying. I don't put nothing past anybody. Even with these artists I just named that I loved, I wouldn't put nothing past them. They all a part of Hollywood. They all a part of something much deeper than most of us know about or will ever know about. Let me know what y'all think about in the comments. This is crazy though. This is crazy. So we can spend 20 minutes debating a haircut. We can write think pieces about who unfollowed who. We can argue for days about whether or not a relationship was PR. But when real court documents drop, when powerful names start showing up in legal filings, when victims talk, suddenly silence. We scroll past it. We get bored. We go back to celebrities. And I'm not saying don't enjoy the drama. I enjoy it, okay? I enjoy it. But ask yourself something. Why is it easier to obsess over optics than to demand accountability? Why do we dissect dating strategy harder than we dissect power? Because distraction is comfortable. Accountability isn't. My inference from all of this, from all of the stuff that's popping out, the Megan Thee Stallion stuff, the Super Bowl stuff, the Cardi B, all of this, I think it's all a distraction. Like, we focus on my brain. I have the ability to focus on multiple things at once. I'm into the entertainment, the drama, the celebrities stuff or whatever. It doesn't take over my life, but I'm into that. I'm also into other things that's happening that they're trying to distract us from. For example, the Epstein files. Y'all not taking my mind off that. That's I can't even say what that is. And I've only seen a very small percentage of them. Why aren't we putting the same energy towards those? Why are we so focused on this? It's like everybody's talking about this, all the news outlets, and yeah, they're reporting, oh, this person is in the files, they're in the files, they're in the files. Who cares who's in the files if you're not going to do anything about it? If you're not going to hold somebody accountable. Like, they're saying, oh, we got to have proof. We got to have proof that they did something. Okay, find the proof. Like you're doing for all of this other stuff. I could get really passionate about that. It pisses me off. Like, seriously, it does. Is anybody else fired up over that? Like, why aren't we putting the same energy? We're effed. This world is effed. Like, seriously. We get distracted by the smallest things and we put something out as like as egregious as these files. Nobody bats an eye. People say, oh, there's nothing we could do about it. Yeah, that's what they want you to say. I'm just saying, like, whew, let's move on. Cause so yeah, maybe the relationship's ended. Maybe the haircuts mean nothing. Maybe it's all coincidence. But the real question is, what are we being redirected from? My guess? What I just talked to y'all about. So tell me, was it love or was it alignment? Receipts? Or was this always just a rumor that we were made to believe?